again. This is the third straight week Lamar has missed since he injured his knee against the Broncos. Lamar, of course, still in negotiations with the Ravens for a long-term deal. Shannon, should Lamar Jackson just shut it down for the rest of the season?
Man, did I tell y'all the moment that man got hurt, I put on house shoes, I'm not going back out there. If you haven't seen enough, if you haven't seen what I've done over the last 5 years, what can I do in 4 games to convince you to give me the money that I believe I deserve? No, I'm not going back out there. I'm not going to risk further injury to prove to you that I should get the money that I rightfully deserve. And guess what? By me not being out there, how you looking? Looking real trashy right now, right? You can't score a point. You know what?
All of a sudden, Greg Roman needs to be fired. Well, wait a second.
so the longer this go on, Steve Bisciotti, the owner, I don't know what you're going to do. Now, look, I think, if I'm not mistaken, Skip, I think the Players Association has a grievance against the owners because they, colluded, we're not going to give these guaranteed contracts. Yeah. So that's what privately, there's nothing on paper, but they believe there have been conversations about that. Lamar Jackson said, I've done what I've done for 5 years. Yep. I've had an MVP. I've taken it to the playoffs. I've won a playoff game. And y'all still be hesitant to give me my money. So I'm going to be hesitant to go back out there. I see y'all in 2023, the 2023 season, because now if I play in 23, that's an addition of this season. I'm not going back out there, period. So stop asking me. Don't ask me how I'm feeling. I'm feeling great, but I'm not going back out there. So don't ask me how I'm feeling. Don't ask me what it's looking like. It's looking good from where I'm sitting, looking like I'm going to get the money that I was asking for earlier.
Shannon Sharpe, you played for this organization.
Yes.
You wore purple. You played like a Raven today.
Yep.
Right?
Yep.
You won a Super Bowl as a Raven.
I did.
With the great Ray Lewis and that defense and you making big play plays. I have always admired from a distance this organization. I've known a bunch of people who coached and served in the organization. And it is a great place.
Top to bottom.
Top to bottom. It just might be the best place. It just might be with Ozzie sort of overseeing. Bisciotti has been a strong, good owner.
Yes.
John Harbaugh he's really good at what he does.
Great.
And I think the players really do enjoy playing for him.
I agree.
I think he does have their best interest at heart.
But Lamar knows this is not a Harbaugh decision.
All right, it's not Harbaugh. This has turned into the ugliest story in all of professional sports for the right reason, but it's still ugly because it's the Ravens this is happening to. It is shockingly ugly that the Ravens ignited this and are having to watch it play out, where in the biggest picture, if you told me that a player was holding out and costing his team a potential playoff run, I would automatically say I'm anti that player.
Right.
I don't love that idea. But when I know the backstory and I know the history of this one, the man won the MVP of this league in his second year in pro football. It's just hard to do.
Of course.
It does not happen.
Yes.
And he richly deserved the MVP. He was sensational.
He was. He deserved it.
Okay. So he did that. And you said earlier how emotional you are. I think he's very emotional, too. And he's very proud of what he's accomplished. And he feels like, I gave you all I had, and you're giving me nothing back. You're completely disrespecting me to the point that he has been what I would call holding in. He's not holding out. He's holding in. He actually came to play. Right. But I told you, I heard from a Ravens offensive player who sits in these meetings and who was surprised but not upset with the fact that from day one this year in meetings, that he termed it that Lamar was a little distant and unresponsive to the coaches because he's just hurt. And he was there, and he went ahead and participated. And I thought he played very well while he was playing. Right. I remember the game against Brady. I thought he was sensational in that game.
Unbelievable.
Okay. But he would be a few minutes late to practice just to make the case. You're disrespecting me. I'm not going to honor this system here the way I used to honor it because I died for the cause for you. Okay, so now Bisciotti's thrust into a position of Lamar got hurt down the stretch last year, and now he got hurt again. So Bisciotti's trying to guard that bottom line. They do have a salary cap in the sport, and I'm sure he's thinking to himself, God, do I go 5 years and $250 guaranteed million for a kid who's gotten hurt a couple times the last 2 years? who does sort of run for, he can really throw it too, but he also runs, and it puts him in harm's way. Although I could argue you're just as much in harm's way standing in the pocket as you are running the football, as long as you run smart, which he does. Okay, so my point is, Bisciotti's clearly torn, and then we had the incident, again, it's just emotions boiling over, where Lamar responded to the fool on Twitter, and you just can't do it, and he responded incredibly profanely, remember? Yeah. And now it's gone completely over the edge, and now Bisciotti's thinking, God, do I want that guy to be my franchise quarterback? So it just feels wrong. Everything feels wrong, and it feels like, to me, that he's not going to be a Raven anymore.
I think he's going to be a Raven. Like. I think cooler heads will prevail.
Well, I hope you're right.
But can I break some news to Steve?
Yeah.
You know who's in your division? Joe Burrow.
He is.
And he ain't going nowhere.
Yeah.
So if you want to compete now, if you want to just turn the division over to them like they've conceded the AFC West to Patrick Mahomes, let him walk. Okay. Don't give him his money.
And Cleveland went out.
And they got Deshaun.
And I know Deshaun's got his issues, but he is really good. He will be really good.
You and Pittsburgh will be fighting out to see who finishes last.
Yep.
Joe Burrow's not going anywhere. The only way you can compete with these guys, what did the Chargers do? They went and got Justin Herbert. The Broncos were trying to compete. They go out and get Russell Wilson. Yep. If you want to beat these young gun quarterbacks, the really good ones, you better go get somebody to match them. That's why Buffalo went out and got Josh Allen. They wanted to compete with Tom Brady. They said, enough of this. We're not conceding anything anymore.
Yeah. I hear you.
Okay.
I agree. And you can't just snap your fingers and replace Lamar Jackson with
and think you'll get something else.
Okay.
You're not getting the Green Bay situation. Yeah. With Skip, you have 14 years of Brett Favre, 15 years of Brett Favre. And guess what? You snap right into, you get Aaron Rodgers, and you got another 18 years of him. So you got 30 years of great quarterback play. That doesn't happen often. Or what we saw in San Fran. You get Joe, and then you go straight to Steve.
Yeah, I got it.
More times than not,
you get... I'm not sure that Bisciotti is going to guarantee Lamar 5 more years at 250.
I guarantee you where he finishes last in that division. I guarantee you that.
You would, and you'll be right about that. Because I don't think, what's his name, Tyler Huntley is going to be the answer.
No.
And I like him.
I like him too, but he he's not beating Joe Burrow.
No.
Because that's what you're up against now.
He's having a hard time beating anybody right now.
It's a pretty tall order to beat Joe Burrow. A lot of teams on the market for quarterbacks for next season, guys. Jets quarterback Zach Wilson was booed multiple times. 92 passing yards plus an interception. Then he was benched for backup quarterback Chris Streveler. Jets head coach Robert Saleh said after the game, it wasn't a benching as much as the Jets looking for a spark on offense. It's an interesting explanation. Shannon, what should the Jets do now with Zach Wilson?
Skip, a change of scenery might be in order.
Yeah.
In my 14 years, I've never seen a guy lose respect of the locker room, lose the locker room, and get it back. It's just hard. Because once that has happened, the guys have a perception of you, of what you are and what they think you can become. And maybe a change of scenery. Skip, he's only 23 years of age, so it's not a lost cause. But maybe New York is a little bit too much for him to handle right now, Skip. And you say, well, it's not a benching. In order for you to get that spark, what did you have to do to Zach Wilson? You had to put benching.
Yeah.
So that's exactly what it was. The dude had a 5.2 QBR last night, Skip. And they did nothing when he was in the game. The moment that backup quarterback got in, everybody took off. It was like, oh, yeah, now we got a chance. It's like when he's on the field, they don't even believe they got a chance. That's why quarterbacking matter. They got nice pieces around him. They got a tremendous defense. But that joker right there doing what he did, you can't overcome that, Skip. There's not, even the 2000 Ravens couldn't overcome play like that.
No.
Because he puts the ball in harm's way, and I'm just like, bro, what are you doing? And you look at his numbers, Skip, his numbers are eerily similar. I'm not saying he's going to beat Jamarcus Russell, but Zach Wilson is 8-14 win-loss. Russell was 7-15. A 70 passer rating. Zach had 15 touchdowns. Jamarcus Russell had 16. One average 6.4 yards per attempt, the other 6.3. He might turn out to be an okay quarterback, but he might need to leave, get on the Greyhound bus and leave depart New York City. Skip, New York isn't for everybody. Yeah, it can make you the Bright Lights, Broadway, Skip, the big Madison Avenue. It has a lot to offer, but it'll gobble you up.
Yep.